Hello everyone,
Hey.
I am Kelly, or Cruellica Kain.
It's Advent Nebula here, and we're doing a live version of Pop Culture Therapy with Austin Tindle.
So thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
So as we try to always segment with Pop Culture Therapy, we like to talk about different things within the community and how we can help benefit everyone staying positive and staying happy. For anyone who doesn't know who you are, can you let us know a little bit of what you've done throughout your career?
Yeah, my name is Austin Tindle. I am an actor, but you're probably talking to me today because I'm a voice actor that dubs English voices for Japanese anime.
Sounds good. What type of roles would you say that you've done that you're most proud of, or that you love the most from what you've done?
All of them, equally. But other people love Tokyo Ghoul a lot, where I play the main character, Kaneki, and I play Karma in Assassination Classroom, and I play Accelerator in a certain magical index and a certain scientific railgun. And I'm Marco Bot in Attack on Titan, and
Awesome.
a bunch of other stuff. We could
Which
be
is-
here for days.
Yeah, you have a long IMDb, which is never a bad thing. Shows that you're popular. Actually, that sounded terrible. I said like that. Wow. I'm usually not so sarcastic. I'm from New York, so I probably get an accent.
It felt super complimentary.
No, I actually, admittedly, Tokyo Ghoul was the first time I had recognized your voice acting, but I've heard you in all the roles that you've mentioned and so many more. And I really enjoy what you put into a role. Do you try to research it, or do you just kind of go with like what is directed by the director, or how do you put yourself into the characters that you're working on?
It varies. Research is not really an option in the anime universe, because it's very rare that I get to get information about what I'm doing before I do it. And even when we're doing it, you get about 20 seconds per line. So most of the time you're doing cold reads all the time, and like half of the stuff that you hear me doing, I'm saying for the first and last time.
Oh, okay.
I mean, you know, and occasionally it'll take 2 or 3 times to get it, and sometimes it'll take more than that. But it's all super fresh. So there's not a lot of research that you can do that's very helpful outside of kind of getting a basic idea of the universe of the show. And it can be to your detriment to kind of know too much about what's about to happen, because then it stilts your reads.
Well, that makes a lot of sense, especially when you have shows like Tokyo Ghoul and Index, which are continually running shows with characters that are over long story arcs.
Yeah. Yeah. It's always more fun to be surprised by what's about to happen with your character. If you ever watched Space Dandy, I won't give away the ending, but there's a big reveal that happens to Micah Soisad's character at the end, and they made a point to not tell him until it happened, and then in the booth, once they record him, his reaction is very fresh because he had no idea what was going on.
That's awesome to think that even with something like anime, just like with all types of cinema, that you can have that visceral reaction when you're doing it.
Yeah, it's easier. That's maybe one of the unique things about doing English dubs for anime, which is such a strange, specific type of performance. But you get the animation and you get the music in your ears when you're recording, so it's kind of, it lets you immerse yourself more in the scene, in the moment, and it's like, you know, it's like you're in the middle of you get to be a part of the action-packed scene without having to do any preparation.
I like that. And how do you help with the diversity of your voice for different characters in the various roles? Because you don't sound the same, which is...
Some people would disagree, but thank you. So, I mean, that's... My personal belief about acting in general is not that... it's not my job to sound like other people, ever.
Very true.
And not to say that that's not a skill that is a useful tool for an actor, and like mimicry in general, or being able to put on different specific traits can be super useful and interesting. But I mostly get invested in the intention of the character. So when Karma ends up sounding different than Marco, it's based mostly on my actor objectives. And then it's fine-tuned by the director. And really, they're shoving me around and manipulating me and influencing me for the most part. So I don't really do that much on purpose. A lot of it, I mean, a lot of what the final product of everyone's performance is has mostly to do with the director and what their vision is. And my job is just to like make it as easy as possible to help them accomplish that goal.
And for being an actor, what advice would you give to anybody that wants to get into an acting troupe or wants to pursue acting as a career? What advice would you give them?
Don't do it. Go do something else. Did you want more?
No, it's...
I'm kidding. Here's what
I was a little scared for a second. I was like, okay, that's a good PSA.
Well, people... Okay. Art is super important in community for a bunch of reasons, right? Mm-hmm. Especially theater, dance, music, and visual arts. And we live in this consumer-based economy where so many people have gotten used to participating in art as either the product or the person buying the product, as opposed to like a communal experience. Like we should all be dancing and playing bad music and drawing crappy pictures and reciting poetry poorly together, communally. And I'm really invested in doing that, and that's how I end up where I am. And if you want to get into voice acting for a living, be prepared to fail and be prepared to be poor and, I don't know, wake up every morning and fearlessly self-examine and then invest all of your free time and energy doing any type of acting you could possibly put your hands on. And then maybe if you're like, it's like getting a girlfriend. Like if you go out there and you're just like, oh, I want a girl, like girls aren't going to be attracted to you as much because you look needy. But if you're like all invested in the joy of yourself, you start to become attractive. And if you're really passionate about what you do, like talented people will find you.
Well, I think that's a good point to put out there is it's like having a commitment. You need to be committed. You need to be steadfast in what you want to do. You can't just assume that everything is going to come to you because nobody, I don't think, is ever that lucky in this world. And if they are, please tell me your secret.
Well, it's like, okay, if you are getting into this industry for the wrong reasons, one of two things is going to happen. Either you're going to fail and you'll be miserable, or you're going to succeed and you're going to be miserable because you did it for the wrong reasons. Now you got a bunch of money. You're being required to do stuff you're not actually that passionate about. Mm-hmm. Turns out fame is incredibly annoying. If you have more money than you know what to do with, then you get stressed out about what you're going to do with this money. And then you look back on your career and you ask yourself, like, was it worth it? And look at all the weird things I had to do in order to get where I am. And did I even want to get here in the first place? So it's easy as a young artist to get so caught up in being validated that a corporation giving you a modest paycheck to do something that you're not even that proud of might end up being your whole life. And then somewhere down the line you might not be the artist that you wanted to be growing up. And you've got to really ask yourself what you want to get out of this. For me, I think being an artist is more of like a mental disability I have to deal with, and sometimes the result of that turns into money. But if I wasn't getting paid, I'd still be doing it as a therapeutic tool.
And that's one thing we do with our pop culture therapy that we like to stress is art, in a way, is a very valid way of therapeutic yourself in the therapy chair. I do myself enjoy gaming and the occasional doodling and writing, and that's my therapy outside of what I normally do because I know I need that way to vent myself.
Yeah, man. Well, what do you think what is the point of being an actor? And if you're trying to be a voice actor, first you have to be an actor. Mm-hmm. As we all know. But what's the point? I've been saying this a lot lately, but you know, theater and therapy and theology have the same root word, which could be translated as God. It could also, if we wanted to, look at it as just self-examination and this like the ever-present itch of consciousness that's kind of evaluating itself. And so anime does this a lot, and I've had the joy of being in a lot of shows that really center around recovering from trauma and pushing humanity towards a better version of itself. You know, some people talk about how there's a bunch of superhero movies out right now, and that's a sign that we're more shallow or we have less attention span. And I think it's more that the collective unconscious has a deep desire to strive to be better in these times. So us all communally going out and watching superheroes, it's really like the parts of ourselves that really want us to all stand up and be heroes. And so that's why stories have happy endings, because it's therapy. It's going back, recovering your old memories, reevaluating them, fixing the broken pieces, massaging out the sore muscles. And that's why, like, I don't think too much about getting a specific role, or I don't get worried about not getting a role. It's not really my job to figure out what I'm here to do. Like, the more that my acting career has been a continual process of self-examination that has led to me being a healthier person, and I just reflect all that out. And that's what Shakespeare told us to do in the first place.
Oh, absolutely. No, that's a great point. And I think that's important to consider in everything that anyone does, is look at what's going to help you feel more confident in yourself, give you an opportunity to feel empowered to take different chances, if it was within the arts, if it's outside of the arts. And I really respect that, that you can put that in yourself and you can demonstrate that, because as I think all of us have seen or have experienced ourselves, is we don't always have that ability to actualize what we're trying to do. So I think that's a great thing that you've been able to realize that yourself and be able to kind of push it out to give others that opportunity to reflect and connect with that as well.
Yeah, well, and that's why I always encourage people to do theater, because, you know, it's not just about like witnessing great art that heals us, but every version of participation. You know, doing something with the visual arts causes you to increase your attention span and do fine-tune motor skills. Writing things out allows you to create a mental landscape of your mind. Singing causes vibrations inside of your body that helps rattle things into correction. All the important things that I've learned about acting has led me to align my body and my chakras in a way that allows me to feel more functional as a human being. And speaking monologues, you know, doing performance, the human psyche, right, doesn't know the difference between you feeling something and you just saying the thing. So like if you've seen the TED Talks where like if you just go like this, you get a rush of serotonin and oxytocin. Like your body doesn't know that you haven't done something successful. It can't tell the difference. So just acting this out creates it inside yourself. It's a healing process. And words, we think we have an academic understanding, but every time you say a word, everything that's ever happened to you around that word lights up in your brain. And so, like a monologue that has a lot of rich words it's like an excretory function for your subconscious. So it's just a good exercise for everyone, even if it doesn't turn into a product that gives you some money and maybe puts your name on the internet.
Oh, no, I think it's great just to have the opportunity to be able to connect and try something.
And for our viewers there, if you've never gone to like even a high school or a college production or any kind of stage show, do attend one. They will enlighten you in ways with some of these shows, because more than likely it's going to be a play you've never heard of and a show, and you don't know what you're going in for, but it may be one of the most enlightening experiences you may ever have.
And if it's not and you didn't like it, it doesn't mean you don't like theater. It might have just sucked.
Kind of taking a little bit of a side turn, and adding a little bit more levity, because this is such a great conversation. I could do it for like hours. I know you had mentioned that you don't have like copious amounts of free time, which so makes sense because you always seem busy. But what do you like to do for fun? Like, what is your Zen moment when you're not working?
I try to always keep myself entertained, whatever that means. So like I have a bunch of TV screens in my living room that are all of Chromecasts on, and I'll just command them to play different things, and then I'll pace on a hoverboard in a 600 square foot apartment.
That sounds like New York.
That's my hobby. I don't know. I try to get more hobbies. No. I'm just trying to be a functional human being at this point.
Sometimes that's a lot of a hobby in and of itself, just to go day by day.
It can be really tricky too, because like I spend very little time getting paid to act.
Mm-hmm.
But I spend a lot of time like in my closet rehearsing auditions that people may never even listen to, because it ends up in a bucket with like thousands of other auditions, and they're like, once they find the thing they want, they're not going to keep listening to the other 995.
Yeah, unfortunately, I think that's
the fourth one. That was it.
Do you have like a favorite type of music that you listen to?
I get pretty eclectic. Right now, some of my favorite songs are "Again Never" by the Branford Marsalis Quartet, "Man on Fire" by Edward Sharpe and the Magnetic Zeros. I'm a big fan of Alice Regina's version of Aguas de Marco. Left Hand Free by Alt J, and Breeze Blocks, put that one on a lot. Been listening to more Paul Simon lately. When I'm trying to do something, I'll put on like generic classical music. Bon Iver, if it's cold. I don't know. It varies.
No, I think it's good to have such diversity in music because I come from a musical background from high school and college.
My dad's a musician.
That is awesome. I played like clarinet and drums.
Cool.
What kind of music does your dad do?
He's mostly guitar, piano, but he picks up anything.
I'm jealous when people can pick up anything and be like great at it, because it does take a lot of work, it does take a lot of dedication, but music is, for me, such a big passion because for me, it's almost as much therapeutic as acting or anything.
Yeah, I've been meaning to get into it more. Like, I might get a keyboard.
Keyboards are a lot of fun, and they're easier to pick up, but at the same time, they give you so much diversity in what you can do. Especially if you have like synthesizers or any other components with that.
I just want an 88 weighted key, tiny as possible, shove it in my living room.
I get fancy with it, I have to admit, because I love music way too much. But, well, I guess because I know we're probably going to have to wrap up soon. For anyone that wants to follow you on social media, is there anything that you're triggered towards, like more like Twitter versus Facebook or Instagram? Or?
Right now, the only way that you're going to hear a response from me is if you go to my new Instagram page, @not Austin Tindle.
Austin Tindle.
It's me. Well, it's my page. I'm on the page.
I like that though, not Austin Tindle, so it'll make people confused.
But follow me on Twitter. That's just @Austin Tindle. Follow me on Facebook. It's still me. You can find me. But yeah, go follow them because that makes me seem more important, and then I get better roles, I guess.
Well, that's terrible if they have to use that as a barometer, because you have great talent.
Well, it can
and
be.
You have enthusiasm and so much passion for it.
It can influence decisions, you know? I mean, there's a lot of people trying to create content. So if they're trying to decide between two great actors, and one of them has, 6,000 Twitter followers, and the other one has $60,000, I mean, it's gonna help their project.
Okay, that's fair.
We're all trying to hustle.
Well-
We're all dirty hustlers.
Well, this has been an awesome pop culture therapy. You have given us, and I'm going to point out the lemons on the table.
I told you not to talk about the lemons! This is the one. I'm out of here. You guys.
Thank you, and have a great rest of your weekend.